In a moment that sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, what began as a seemingly charming exchange between Meghan Markle and Drew Barrymore spiraled into a headline-dominating fallout. Meghan Markle, no stranger to controversy or public scrutiny, found herself on the receiving end of what many are calling a cold but classy rejection. And it happened in real time on national television. It all unfolded during Meghan's highly anticipated appearance on the Drew Barrymore show. From the outset, the setup appeared like your typical Hollywood crossfire of charm and mutual respect. Meghan arrived smiling, poised, and armed with talking points that painted her in a soft, relatable light. Drew Barrymore, ever the gracious host, extended her signature warmth, engaging Meghan with ease, but something beneath the surface began to fracture, and fast. At first, social media lit up with praise for what looked like a budding friendship. The two women, both seasoned in navigating public life and personal reinvention, appeared to connect on issues of motherhood, fame, and philanthropy. But as the show aired in full and clips went viral, a different narrative began to crystallize. Viewers noticed subtle but telling shifts. Drew's expressions became reserved, her tone more cautious, as Meghan steered the conversation repeatedly towards self-branding, celebrity name drops, and polished anecdotes that felt rehearsed rather than real. Insiders close to the production later leaked that what the audience witnessed was only part of the tension. According to multiple crew members, Meghan reportedly requested several edits post-taping, pushing for the removal of segments that she felt detracted from her image. She allegedly expressed discomfort with parts of the interview that didn't align with her current branding strategy, even suggesting that Drew had unintentionally shifted the narrative away from empowerment. These claims, while unconfirmed by Barrymore's team, sparked outrage, not just among Drew's fans, but across Hollywood circles wary of Meghan's PR-heavy approach to media. And then came the real twist. In a moment now dissected frame by frame by media analysts, Drew Barrymore, toward the end of the interview, delivered what seemed like a polite but unmistakable boundary. When Meghan extended an invitation, some say it was a veiled suggestion of future collaboration, or even personal hangouts, Drew responded with a vague smile and an evasive, "We'll see, that's sweet," followed by an abrupt pivot to close the segment. It wasn't overtly rude, but for anyone fluent in celebrity subtext, the message was clear. Drew was backing away. This seemingly casual dismissal exploded online. The phrase "Drew Barrymore suddenly rejects Meghan Markle" started trending on Twitter and TikTok within hours. Audiences praised Barrymore's restraint and grace, dubbing her the queen of classy boundaries. Many applauded her for not playing into Meghan's often criticized attempts to build high-profile friendships that appear less authentic and more like strategic alliances. But was Drew's reaction really a rejection? Or are we reading too much into a few lines of dialogue and body language? That's where things get even murkier. Multiple entertainment columnists have pointed out that Barrymore, while diplomatic, has a history of gently distancing herself from guests who exhibit what she views as performative authenticity. In her memoir and several interviews, Drew has spoken candidly about her disdain for Hollywood facades. So, while she never addressed Meghan directly after the episode aired, the lack of any social media follow-up, no backstage selfies, no post-show mentions, all signs point to a deliberate disengagement. Even more damning, Drew reportedly declined an invitation to attend a private event hosted by Meghan and Prince Harry just weeks after the taping. Sources close to Barrymore's team stated she politely passed on the exclusive California-based charity gala, citing scheduling conflicts, though insiders say she didn't want to be part of the drama surrounding that circle. It's no secret that Meghan has struggled to gain favor in Hollywood since her move to the US. She's oscillated between strategic partnerships and high-profile media projects, from her Spotify podcast deal that ended prematurely to various content ventures that critics argue lack depth or authenticity. Meghan's desire to be seen as both a humanitarian and a celebrity powerhouse has led to numerous missteps. And this latest friction with Drew Barrymore may be the clearest example yet of how her approach is backfiring. It's important to note, however, that not everything being circulated is grounded in fact. Several tabloid outlets falsely claimed that Drew stormed off set or that there was a heated argument backstage. Those rumors have been thoroughly debunked. The show proceeded smoothly to its conclusion, and there was no visible confrontation. Barrymore's professionalism remained intact throughout the taping, and no one from either camp has confirmed any backstage blow-up. Still, the absence of warmth after the camera stopped rolling spoke volumes. In the world of celebrity PR, silence can be the loudest statement of all, and Drew's silence has been resounding. While Meghan's team quickly issued follow-up statements framing the episode as a lovely conversation between two influential women, they noticeably avoided any mention of future collaborations or mutual admiration. A typical PR tactic when chemistry is real and lasting. What makes this order more captivating is the broader context in which this fallout is happening. Meghan Markle has been on what many are calling a reputation tour, aiming to reshape public perception following multiple setbacks. From the Spotify fallout to negative polling in both the US and the UK, she's been carefully curating her appearances to align with a redemptive arc. Her choice to appear on the Drew Barrymore show was clearly strategic. Drew is beloved, widely trusted, and seen as emotionally intelligent. Being embraced by Barrymore could have been a major PR win. But instead of an alliance, Meghan may have walked away with an even deeper dent in her Hollywood aspirations. Adding fuel to the fire are comments from Hollywood insiders who say Meghan's presence backstage was tense and rigid. One unnamed producer from the show told an entertainment podcast that Meghan came in with a team that controlled every angle, lighting, and line of questioning, and that she seemed more interested in optics than openness. While it's common for celebrities to have specific requests, the level of scrutiny reportedly applied by Meghan's handlers was described as exhausting. Meanwhile, Barrymore's team, known for its laid-back and emotionally fluid style, apparently found the whole dynamic a bit suffocating. And here's where fact and fiction start to blend. Some online commentators, many from royalist or anti-Meghan circles, exaggerated these reports, claiming Drew banned Meghan from the show or called her inauthentic. Those claims are false. There's been no official blacklisting or public comment of that nature, but the undeniable shift in energy from the taping to the aftermath has left many convinced that Drew, intentionally or not, exposed a major flaw in Meghan's public persona: the perceived inability to form genuine, unscripted connections. The public response has been swift and decisive. Comment sections flooded with praise for Drew's subtle handling of the moment. Many describe the encounter as proof that Hollywood is growing weary of Meghan's calculated media strategy. One viral TikTok video dissecting the body language between the two women has racked up millions of views, with users pointing out micro-expressions and tonal shifts as indicators of the underlying discomfort. Yet, Meghan's supporters argue that she's once again being held to an unfair standard, that no matter how she behaves, her actions are dissected and demonized. They say Drew's aloofness may have stemmed from the pressure of the live format or internal politics rather than any personal issue with Meghan. This camp points out that Meghan has continuously been the target of exaggerated tabloid stories, and that we must be careful not to conflate silence or neutrality with hostility. Still, even the most sympathetic interpretations can't deny that Meghan failed to land the connection she clearly sought. And in the world of celebrity relationships, perception is everything. Meghan needs allies, not just producers or brand partners. Real connections that validate her place in the Hollywood ecosystem. Drew Barrymore, with her deep roots, authenticity, and mainstream goodwill, would have been a powerful friend to have in her corner. But as it stands, that door appears firmly closed. What remains most fascinating about this incident is how quickly it shifted public sentiment. Just a few years ago, Meghan Markle was celebrated as a disruptor, a breath of fresh air within the stale traditions of royal life. But post-Megxit, the narrative has become increasingly fractured. Her every move is now seen through a lens of suspicion. Her friendships, her interviews, her projects. And this latest failed rapport with Drew only magnifies how difficult it's become for her to forge the kind of meaningful Hollywood relationships she once hoped to rely on. Let's also be clear, Drew Barrymore didn't expose Meghan with a viral comment or an explosive quote. She did something far more devastating in the world of image management. She showed disinterest. In an industry that thrives on public displays of affection and mutual validation, Absence of enthusiasm is a statement in itself. When Drew chose not to post about the episode, not to invite Meghan back, not to engage further, she told the world everything without saying a word. What's perhaps most telling about this entire situation is how differently it might have played out just a few years ago. At the height of the Sussex brand's global rise, following the Oprah interview and the bombshell documentary that laid bare their grievances with the royal family, Meghan Markle was hailed by many as a truth teller, a symbol of strength against archaic institutions. Hollywood welcomed her with open arms, brands lined up for partnerships, and talk shows sought her out like a ratings jackpot. But fast forward to now, and the temperature has changed drastically. What was once considered bravery is now being perceived by some as self-interest, masked as vulnerability. The fallout with Drew Barrymore has simply crystallized this shift. The Drew incident also underscores a broader Hollywood reality. Charm and status no longer guarantee you access to elite circles if people sense inauthenticity. Drew Barrymore is a rare example of someone who has grown up in the industry, suffered public humiliation, clawed her way back with honesty and emotional intelligence, and built a career grounded in connection. For Meghan to enter that space and seemingly miss the importance of mutual emotional transparency may have been the deal breaker. One former publicist who previously worked with both A-list actors and political figures weighed in anonymously to a major entertainment outlet. They noted, "The worst thing you can do in a setting like Drew's is come in with an agenda that feels rehearsed. Audiences can tell, Drew can definitely tell, and when she senses that, she pulls back." This comment adds fuel to the theory that Meghan's intention to rebuild her public image collided directly with Barrymore's preference for genuine, unscripted interaction. And yet the most glaring part of this public unraveling is that Meghan seemed unaware of how poorly the encounter landed. Her post-show PR push, consisting of short clips shared on her official channels, edited to show only the warmest moments, came off as tone-deaf to viewers who had already witnessed the entire episode. It was like trying to sell a highlight reel from a game everyone already watched in full. And instead of repairing the image, it made it worse. Critics began to frame the edited clips as damage control, while supporters of Drew saw them as an attempt to manipulate perception. Meanwhile, Drew's silence continued to speak volumes. No follow-up tweet, no repost of the episode, not even a courtesy "Thanks for joining us, Meghan," that she routinely shares for nearly every other guest, even lesser known ones. In the PR world, that silence is not an oversight. It's a calculated non-engagement, a way of saying this door is closed. Let's be clear, this isn't about two women having a falling out. This is about image, influence, and the politics of perception in a town where every gesture, every post, and every unspoken omission carries weight. Meghan's approach to media, tightly scripted, excessively branded, often self-referential, is starting to feel like a relic of an earlier phase of her public life. It doesn't resonate as powerfully now, especially against figures like Drew, who represent an evolved, emotionally open brand of celebrity. In fact, some Hollywood commentators are calling the Meghan Drew moment a litmus test for how well celebrities adapt to today's climate. Gone are the days when curated perfection was the goal. Now, viewers reward messiness, relatability, and transparency. They want to see their stars struggle, cry, laugh awkwardly, and admit when things go wrong. Drew built her entire show on that foundation. When Meghan entered that space with controlled talking points and brand-safe narratives, it created friction, a kind that viewers noticed and Drew, intuitively or not, responded to. One viral TikTok user put it bluntly in a now-deleted post that racked up over 500,000 views. Meghan came to sell, Drew came to connect. That's why it flopped. The comment struck a chord. Thousands echoed similar sentiments. Others, however, pushed back, saying Meghan was treated unfairly and dissected far more harshly than male celebrities or even other female guests. And that critique isn't unfounded. There is no denying that Meghan Markle has been the subject of intense, often disproportionate scrutiny, both by the British press and now increasingly by US media. But intent and perception are two very different beasts in the realm of public relations. Diving deeper into what really sparked this cooling off between the two, let's address the speculation versus fact divide. One of the most widely circulated false stories was that Meghan requested Drew avoid discussing Prince Harry or any royal-related topics, a claim shared by multiple gossip blogs. However, behind-the-scenes sources familiar with the production confirmed this was not part of Meghan's conditions. In fact, it was reportedly Drew's own decision to keep the interview focused on Meghan's US-based initiatives and motherhood journey. So that rumor, while juicy, doesn't hold up. Another falsehood, that Drew made a snide comment about Meghan's past acting career off camera. Again, there is no legitimate evidence to back this. All verified reports suggest that Drew remained gracious both during and after the taping, even if emotionally distant. But here's where the facts and implications get tricky. Even without outright rudeness, Drew's passive withdrawal told audiences everything they needed to know. Meghan didn't win her over. And that matters, not just because it hurts Meghan's brand, but because of who Drew Barrymore is in this industry. She's a cultural barometer. Her show isn't just entertainment, it's a temperature check on who's being embraced and who's on thin ice. Meghan's inability to build that bridge with Drew isn't just a missed opportunity, it's a sign of deeper resistance in the industry to her style of engagement. Let's talk Hollywood politics for a moment. After years of controversy, Meghan needs powerful, respected allies in the entertainment world to rebuild credibility. Oprah was once that bridge. Tyler Perry too. But those relationships, while still positive, aren't front and center anymore. The Spotify deal fallout didn't help. Neither did the lukewarm response to the Netflix docu-series, which critics called one-sided and overly curated. In light of that, this Drew Barrymore appearance was more than just a media stop. It was a test balloon for re-entry into the Hollywood mainstream. And it popped. On the flip side, Drew didn't need Meghan. Her show is thriving, her reputation is stable, and her audience, primarily women who value sincerity, trust her. That's why this story resonated so strongly. It wasn't about celebrity beef or a dramatic takedown. It was about seeing someone the public trusts quietly reject someone they no longer feel they can. Of course, some media strategists are urging caution. They argue that piling on Meghan, especially over subtle moments, feeds into the same negativity that many claim to stand against. They warn that this could deepen the sense of alienation and entrench the polarization surrounding her public image. It's a valid concern, but it doesn't change the fact that in a media-saturated culture, every unsaid thing becomes a message. And the message from Drew Barrymore was unmistakably cool. So, where does Meghan go from here? Sources close to her say she remains focused on a new wave of content and lifestyle ventures, including a rumored wellness brand and upcoming digital platform designed to showcase women's voices. Her team has reportedly been doubling down on aligning her with influential female voices in media, though the Barrymore stumble is forcing some recalibration behind the scenes. One insider bluntly said they're realizing that they need to go back to the drawing board. The Hollywood strategy isn't landing. Meanwhile, Drew's team has kept their heads down, declining to comment further, which in itself is a savvy move. By refusing to engage in the drama, Drew positions herself as the calm center while the storm swirls around her. It's classic PR judo. Let your opponent trip over their own narrative while you maintain composure. And it's working. This episode, brief though it may have been, is now being taught in entertainment PR circles as a masterclass in the power of perception. It shows how a single lukewarm exchange broadcast to millions can unravel months of brand strategy. Meghan entered the room hoping to reshape her narrative. She left with it even more complicated than before. And as for Drew Barrymore, she walks away untarnished, maybe even elevated. In the court of public opinion, she's now viewed as the celebrity who didn't cave, didn't fawn, and didn't play the game. And that ironically is exactly what the audience wants now more than ever.